When remediation teams are addressing vulnerabilities, it is sometimes necessary to defer remediation efforts until a later date, for example, until a patch is available from a software vendor. ServiceNow supports this with vulnerability exception requests that prompt for deferral date, reason, and notes for the exception. However, many of our customers have more information than that required to approve and track exceptions. Especially for new customers using ServiceNow Vulnerability Response, that is often tracked via a paper form or data entry into another tool or ServiceNow ticket type. Modifying the ServiceNow exception form to add these additional fields can be complex and time-consuming, including the need to modify it both in the native platform UI as well as in the remediation workspace. With vulnerability questionnaires, we're now able to use ServiceNow's easy and intuitive survey designer to create questionnaires to capture any of this additional information. These questionnaires can also be used for false positive requests. Now let's take a look at how vulnerability questionnaires work. Here I'm logged in as Kevin, an IT operations specialist assigned to work vulnerabilities. I'm going to go ahead and open up one of the remediation tasks from my vulnerability remediation dashboard. And when I do that, I'm going to see I have a request exception button up in the top right corner. I'm going to click request exception, and I get a dialog box for the 3 fields that I mentioned earlier for vulnerability exceptions. First is the until date. I'm going to specify to defer this until the end of September with a reason that the fix is unavailable and additional information I'm going to put in that this needs to wait for a software patch. Now, once I click request approval, because we have a questionnaire configured, I get prompted to fill out the questions within that questionnaire. Now, these are sample questions, and these can be easily customized with the survey designer to build to your organization's needs. I'm going to go ahead and answer these so we can see what the results look like. Okay, so I filled out my questions, and now I'm going to go ahead and submit this questionnaire. Once I submit it, I get notified that I've completed the survey, and I can close this dialog box. I'll see that my remediation task in the background refreshed, and it is now in a state of in review. If I look onto the requested approvals tab, I can see it's actually generated approvals for people to approve this exception process. It also generates the state change approval record, which is tracking the request to change it into a deferred state, and will either move forward into that deferred state if all approvals are completed, or will move back into an open state if approvals are rejected. If I open up the state change approval record, I can see that I have my questionnaire identified for the questionnaire that I filled out, and it gives me the questionnaire number. I can click the preview record button here and open up that assessment. And I'm able to see my answers here in this related list, and I can also view that with view user's response to get it in the same format that I see it as the user filled it out. So then this information is all available and can be used for approvals as well as to be able to track all of the components that your organization needs for tracking vulnerabilities, exceptions.